Hi everyone. So before we started our Chinese New Year holiday and class suspension, I've already explained a little bit how to do imaginative recount. So I would like to take this opportunity to explain how to write this short task again. Okay, so let's start. Let me remind you what a recount is. A recount is a writing to tell others a series of events that have occurred to you chronologically, which means that all the events should be uh, described and explained in time order. Okay, a series of events happen to a character in time order chronologically. So this is a recount, retelling the events, the story. So what is an imaginative recount? An imaginative recount means you're writing the recount not in your real self, but in a role that you imagine. So it's a fake character in a role that you imagine. So in this short task, you are going to imagine yourself as the role that you have created and think of the events that this role has experienced on one day. Okay? So your task is to first imagine yourself in a role. Okay? Imagine yourself in a different person. You can create this role. If you're a boy, you can create the role as a girl, or if you're a girl, you can create it as a boy. If you're young, you can create as an old woman or man. So it's totally up to you how that character, your imaginary role to be. And then after you create this role, you think of the events that this role has experienced on one day. On one day. And I've prepared this character profile. It's also in your writing pack already. So I want you to complete this profile. Okay? So to complete this page on your writing pack, and also I'll attach this Google Doc to you. I want you to create a name of your character so that you can know what will happen to this character in one day. Imagine yourself living in 1912. 1912. Uh, it would be better if you imagine yourself living in England or even in Bromley, like the Berlin family. Okay, so imagine yourself living in 1912, and then you complete the profile below. Uh, Write on your name. How old are you? Are you a male, female? Your relationship status. Are you single? Are you married? Are you divorced? Or your partner has passed away? Are you a widow? And then which social class are you? The lower class, middle class, or upper class? Then what is your job based on your social class? And are there many family members? Do you have brother or sister? Who are they? And then you can also talk about your physical appearance. Are you a fully abled person, or are you a disabled person? How do you look? Are you tall? Are you short? Are you fat? So you can think about these. And then you can also use 5 adjectives to describe yourself, uh, to um, to explain your personality, what kind of person you are, explain that. And then you can use 3 adjectives to describe the life at present. So in 1912, if you're a lower class person, so what kind of problems are you facing or suffering? So how would you describe your life as a lower class person? But if you're upper class person, do you enjoy it? And how would you describe your life? And your daily routine. Daily routine means normally what would you do? Think about it. You can write out what you would do daily, like, oh, wake up in the morning, and lower class, you will go to work. How are you going to go to work? And while you're working, how is your life like normally? And then what time will you finish work? So all these um, daily details, routine. And then you talk about your daily life. You can also share about your leisure time. What would you do? If you're upper class person, do you play golf? Do you social? If you're a lower class person, how would you spend your leisure time? And then you can also explain how others treat you. Okay, so I believe after filling this very detailed character profile, you will have a very um, uh, strong understanding of your own character, own role. Filling that character profile, I believe that you will know yourself really well as the imaginary role, and you can then think of one day, the life of the character, one day in 1912, and think about any special event that would happen to this character. And then I would like to remind you some features and also the structure of writing an imaginative recount. Remember, there are 5 things that you need to follow. Number 1, it has to be written in first person narrative, so you need to tell the story using I. So you cannot write it as like you are looking at the story from the outside. No, you need to tell the story as if you are the one in the story. Okay, so use I, first person narrative. And then you need to include a lot of detailed and vivid description so that you can help readers to visualize what you have experienced. Explain your all the feelings, all the emotion, all the details of the surrounding of the people that you meet in details, okay? And of course, include the emotions and reflections so that the readers will know how you feel and what you think. And then tell the story in chronological order, so they must be in time order. You cannot use flashback. No special writing technique that you need for writing this short task. You just need to tell all the events from the beginning until the end in order, okay? And last but not least, you can include some dialogues. If you meet some other people, you can include dialogues with these people to retell the events. Okay? All right. And then the structure of an imaginative recount basically is like all other essay. We need an introduction, we need a main body, and we need a conclusion. So in the introduction, so for the introduction, what you need to do is you need to talk about the background of the story, the setting, time setting, and place setting. Well, setting, we're always talking about the time and place. So, who was in the story, and who were you? When and where was the recount taking place? Where were you when did this happen? Okay, and what was happening at that moment that you begin your story? So this is the introduction, the setting. After you finish giving out all these background information, then you can start telling the events as the main body. You can present the events in chronological order in several paragraphs in the main body, so you don't need to write one main body to finish everything. And if the events happen in a different locations or time, please please start another paragraph to write about it. Okay, it's just like writing a play script. You start a new scene. Whenever you change a location, you start a new scene. Okay, so remember, if you want to talk about something, the story when you tell a story, it happens in another location or another time, then you start a new paragraph to write about it. And the last one would be conclusion. Conclusion. The last paragraph should be the end of the story. So you explain how the story ends, what happened at last, and then afterwards you add a little bit of your personal reflection regarding the events, how you think, and yeah, so your reflection. Okay. So this is the structure of the imaginative recount: introduction, main body, and then conclusion. All right, and then regarding the language, remember, use past tense because you are talking about the events as a story, as something that has happened. So use past tense. Unless you have dialogues with people. So when you talk, we always use simple present tense or present continuous tense, or even we talk about something in the future, so we use future tense. But based on the context of your dialogue, you choose the right tense. Apart from dialogues, for all other things or for all other parts, use past tense, please. Okay. So at last, we have given you some guiding questions, hoping to write imaginative recount. Remember, you complete your character profile, and then you can think about these questions. For example, you can think about the daily routine of this character, and then you can think about whom the character met and what they said to each other. You can also think about any special event that happened to that character that day. And also you can think of how the story should end. What happened at the end of the day? How did this day end? So you can think about this guiding question. I hope after watching this video, you will understand better how to write your short task and your imaginative recount. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, okay? Bye.